Hello, I'm here. I'm here. I'm ultra late. I apologize. I'm sorry. Just got the music going. Gotta put up the image for the podcast. All right. I think I'm ready. I'm ready to go. Ready to start. I know what the heck to talk about. Welcome. My name is Ian Hopfy. This is Ian the HR Pro live podcast, and as always, it is dangerously unscripted because I'm a lazy bum in actuality, and I never seem to plan properly. That's just the way it goes. See, do we got enough? I feel like we need a little more light, maybe. How's it look? Looking good? Yeah, we're good. We're good. We're lighted, but you can see my face. Not hiding in the dark. Today is Monday. HR Madness. Yeah, HR Madness. So we're talking about everything and anything HR related for your small business or your large business. I did notice that my stats on LinkedIn show that my largest group of followers, no, the people that interact the most with my posts, view them, like them, share them, all that stuff, is people in Edmonton, Alberta. That's good. That's good. But the largest group is people that are part of organizations with more than 10,000 employees. So what the heck does that mean? Some very large organizations, the people that follow me and are interested in my content are from these very large organizations. And that seems bizarre. I don't know why. To me, that feels bizarre. Because that's not the content I'm creating. That's not what I'm creating, but it seems to be resonating. As an HR consultant, I tend to lean towards supporting small to medium-sized businesses. So we're talking small business, less than 99 employees, less than like $5 million in revenue. That's my wheelhouse because I want to help them grow properly with a good HR system, processes, all that stuff built into their organization so they grow well. That's where I enjoy being. Organizations that are right on that cusp from going from small business to medium-sized business, that's where I enjoy to be. It's an exciting time for me because that's when you got to start making sure all your ducks are already in a row. I mean, when you're a small business, you should have been building your HR system, policies, process, whatever you need. It should have been built by the time you hit 99 employees and you're hiring a full-time HR. The new full-time HR person that you hire should only have to go in and tweak stuff. That's their first major task, along with hiring people you need for your expansion. But you need to have those ducks in a row. You need to be prepared. With all things in business, if you're deciding to grow, you got to have that backbone kind of already there. And at this point, you've already proven that your organization can grow, that your organization is financially viable. So you know how to make money, make more revenue for your organization. That's fine. The only problem is once at this point, now that it's starting to get bigger, you got to make sure you have a proper backbone in place. And you should have the revenue to do that sort of work. Sorry, burping, coughing, sneezing, farting. That's all this show is all. That's all of it. That's the whole show. Just bodily functions. Anyway, when you're a small business, when you're starting to grow, when you're hiring your first employee, you just want to make sure that you're paying properly. And I mean, that's the most important thing to people, if you can pay properly. And I talk about that a lot. I talk about making sure you're paying more than the local living wage, and then ensuring that you have yearly, or maybe every 6 months, cost of living pay increases, and you have the ability for the merit pay increases. If you can get those 3 things in, I think you could have some very happy and challenged employees, because 1, you're not paying them poverty wages, so they're going to be able to pay their rent and feed their family. 2, they'll be able to stay ahead of inflation. I mean, if you could give, like, if inflation is averaging 3% a year, if you could give 1 or 2%, or maybe 1.5% every 6 months, then people get a sense of appreciation, because you are giving them wage increases, right? So it's always nice to get that, even if it's tiny and it really doesn't amount to much. If they can see that it happens often, and I mean, as long as this person isn't a bad employee and you aren't planning on firing them, then that means they're at least a good employee, and it's not someone you want to fire. So you want to show that basic appreciation, and the basic appreciation is above living wage pay and yearly or half year cost of living pay increases. Like, that's the absolute basic, right? And that's going to keep someone in your organization for a long time, but it's not necessarily going to make them a rock star to go from a good backbone employee to that rock star stage. They need the merit pay increases. So this is where you see someone working hard, going overtime, doing whatever they need to do to get the job done. Those are the people that you're thinking of for the merit pay increases. And those are basically the same as a cost of living increase. So if you're giving 1.5% every 6 months to just a regular employee who's good and stays, the merit pay increase might come in between that. So you hire a new employee, at 6 months they get their merit pay, or their cost of living increase, and then during that time, that first 6 months to a year, if they've proven that they're a rock star, then you start giving them the merit pay increase kind of in between. So they got their base pay, and then they get the cost of living increase, and then like 3 months they'll get a merit pay increase. Then they'll get their next cost of living increase, and they might get another merit pay increase in there. So this person who's a hard-working rock star, there's a very good chance that they are money motivated. So you want to keep giving them a little pay increase so they feel appreciated. Because anyone who's money motivated, any employee that's money motivated, knows that the quickest and best way to get a big raise is to leave one organization and go to another. That is, you could get 20 to 30% pay increase just by leaving your existing company, going to the other one, because you're in the middle of a negotiation process. So you're obviously trying to get more money. Now, it is harder for someone after a year or two with you. It's harder for them to think, oh, I want to jump, because you've given them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6 to 10% pay increase over the last 2 years. They're not feeling, or they're not feeling that crunch, that need to go get more money as much. Okay, it's still not 20 to 30% that they could get going to a new company, but they feel safe, they feel secure, they feel appreciated with you. They're going to stay. And the longer an employee can stay with you that's happy is what you want. I mean, if you got a long-time employee and they're just a big grouch and cause all kinds of problems, but they know the systems and you don't want to have to retrain somebody, I mean, that's a terrible situation to be in. Your long-term employees need to be happy. I almost don't care if they're dedicated, as long as they're happy. That's what you want. I had a great interview today with an organization that I'm interested in working for, and I'm very particular about my job hunt nowadays. I only apply for organizations that I'm really interested in, and this one I'm really interested in. Sounds like a great position. They're at that cusp. They now have just over 100 employees, and they've made it to the medium-sized business category. So they're at that cusp, and now they're working to expand across the country, and it feels so exciting to be considered for this role. So I'll see in a week. See if I get called in for the second interview. But there is a certain gratifying feeling when you get chosen out of 125, 150 applications. You're one of 6. I mean, that's pretty awesome. That's a good feeling. So 125. 125. No. 6 divided by 125 equals, I'm in the top 5%. I'm in the top 5% of candidates, and that is a good feeling. That is a win. Even if I don't get the job, I've got to feel happy that out of that 125 pool, I was in the top 6 and I got an interview. So, a little bit of magic. And I just think it would be so fun being part of this organization that they've proven, they've made it through the small business phase. They've proven that they can do it. They've proven that their business model works. Now they're going into that medium-sized rapid expansion phase, right? So it's going to be exciting times. And I think it would be so interesting to be part of that organization in the HR department. That would be exciting. So, yeah. I mean, when you talk about small business to medium-sized business, there's so many small businesses just don't get to that point. They might be around for a long time, but they never grow. And that might be fine. We're talking about mom and pop corner convenience store inside a neighborhood, right? There's 10, 20,000 people living in that area. They're the only convenience store. I mean, they're steady. They're always going to be steady. because there's always going to be walking customers in that situation. So you got the owner who's doing a shift. You've got the owner's spouse doing the payroll and the paperwork, and you've got a handful of employees, probably all part-timers, right? Maybe one full-timer, but there's no reason for you to expand. And the more hours the owner can put in, the more money they save, right? So there's more money to take as the owner. But if you are a small business owner like that, I advise you to pay yourself just like you were an employee. Because one day you might need someone to take over the role that you're doing. So say you're still the owner, but you're 60, 65 and you want to retire. Now you're thinking, how am I going to pay for a full-time store manager doing the job that I was doing, right? If you pay yourself in that role as if you were paying somebody else to do that role, yes, you're paying taxes on it or whatever, but the idea is that you are now seeing the true cost of your employees. So you've got your store manager, which is you, who you're paying. You've probably got one full-time employee who's maybe does the evening shift, and you've got a couple of weekenders or evening people that help out during rush time, right? Like, you got 4 or 5 employees, including you as the store manager. And you're basically taking a shift at the till also, right? So think about doing that, and it will be more real what your numbers are going to be, what your organization is going to be paying out if you decide to walk away from the business and just stay on as the owner, right? So, and I think that goes for the same if you've got a spouse who does payroll and paperwork. Treat them like an employee too. Clock them in and out. Know what hours it really takes to do the business. Because when you decide to walk away as just the owner, you're going to need a store manager, and you're probably going to need another bookkeeper, right? So know those expenses before you retire. You may decide it's not viable for you to live that way. You realize that you're making basically just no money as the owner. So at that point, you might decide, well, let's sell the business, right? And that might be a better situation for you. And you sell it to someone who's younger, someone in their 30s or 40s, and they take over. And now they're working their management shift, and their spouse is doing paperwork, payroll, So I know a lot of times we think we're going to get a big buyout at the end of our business, and that's not always true. You've got 2 paths to go. One, you're creating a business where you just want to make a certain amount of money and live off that. That's fine. You're making enough money as the owner that you're saving for retirement. That's fine. But the idea isn't growth and sell your business. That's not your plan. You plan to hold on to the business forever till you retire and hopefully just pass it on to your kids, right? And then they'll hold. They got a job for the rest of their life because the business is doing that. The other path you might take, is the grow and sell path. So you are trying to grow your business as fast and as big as you can, and then you sell it. Either you sell it to someone who's going to pay top dollar for it, or you're going to go public and you're going to make all that money from the IPO sale. Right? So there's two paths when you're thinking about business. Build and hold, you just stay level, just continue making money forever. Or you build as fast as you can, grow as fast as you can, prove the business is viable, then you sell. And like I say, there's either some other big business owner that wants it, or maybe an investor, or God forbid, a private equity firm, and maybe just going public and selling shares, selling most of your company to the public on the stock market, right? That's big money. That's big money. But normally when you do that, you also need big money. You need to have massive amounts of money to do what you need to do to grow on how you want to grow. So infrastructure, people, the equipment, supply lines, whatever, right? All that stuff is expensive, and you're gonna pay, and you're not actually gonna see profits right away, because all that money that you do make gets churned back into the machine, and it's just growth upon growth upon growth upon growth. And you're trying to keep your investors or your personal investment there as long as possible. You're not trying to pay them off right away. You're saying you get paid first when we sell, right? And I mean, in our capitalist society, this is the way a lot of businesses go. And is it ethical? I don't know. I feel like there should be a middle ground. You want to hold on to the business for a while, but you also want to grow it so that you're going to get some sort of payout or golden parachute just before you retire, right? And that's not the build and hold, and that's not the extreme growth method, right? Grow and sell, because that grow and sell is like 5-year plan. The grow and hold is your 20 or 30-year plan, because you want something to do and you don't want to work for anyone else, right? So there's difference in your lifestyle, and I guess it's whatever your speed is, whatever you feel comfortable with. It would be nice if we had a steady growth plan, the middle road. So as opposed to doing 5-year shock and awe, grow and sell, to 20, 30-year hold and make money, let's do something in the middle. Let's do 10 to 20. Let's do like a 15-year plan and say, I want to build my business, but after 15 years, I want to sell it. And it's not about massive, fast growth. You don't want to have investors, but you certainly want to be making enough money that you can reinvest that money into your business. And with the grow and hold for the next 20, 30 years, You're not taking out any loans. You're not, if you did initially get some sort of business loan, you're going to take the time to pay it off. It's going to get paid off eventually. So basically that equity you grow is what you make money on the last sale. So if we say we can speed this up a little bit and say, let's, instead of a 20 or 30 year plan, let's say 15. Let's say 15 years, we're going to step the business up. If you're thinking mom and pop grocery store, right? Well, we're going to say every 5 years, we're going to open up a new grocery store. So we'll have this small chain of mom and pop, I guess it's convenience stores, right? We're going to create a small chain, but we want to make sure each store is viable and making money before we move on to the next store. So we start the first store, 5 years, we build the business, and we also save enough money. We also, at this point, we know how much money we need to open up the next store. And because we did it once, we probably did it with a small business loan, small bank loan, or maybe if you're indigenous, you were able to get some grant money to help pay for that, whatever. There was that initial money to get you going. So now you have the first store, the first location, whatever it might be. It might be convenience store, nail salon. I feel like there's a lot of nail salons. Nail salons, I feel like, are almost recession proof, because people still want to look beautiful and still want to be who they are. So having some sort of simple beauty store is a good thing. So I've seen it. There's lots of same name nail salons out there, right? But you want to make sure whatever business you're doing, it becomes viable. The first business is now generating revenue, and you know how much it cost you to open that first location. So now you just wait long enough until that first location gives you at least that much money. And then you don't need outside investment. You don't need to go take another business loan. You've self-funded the next location. And this first location should, within that same time frame, create that fund again. Right? While that second location is starting to ramp up, you've got a system down at this point. You know what you need to do to make the second location work. And maybe you can get that one to be more financially viable in a shorter time period. And then it'll help to build with the fund also. And then at that point, your third location, pretty easy. You've done it twice. You've streamlined a lot of the stuff that you had to get set up, your supply lines, your wholesalers or whatever, they're all there already. So the second one was easier, and now the third one should be clockwork, right? We see franchises. We're going to open 400 stores this year. I mean, that's insane, man. And when you're dealing with a franchise system, there's supposed to be a system that guarantees that you're going to make money. But I find the corporate franchise system has turned itself into some nasty beast. The franchisee must purchase all product from the corporate store. The franchisee also has to put in large amounts monthly for a national advertising campaign, right? And these basically leave the local franchise owners just basically poor. They're store poor. Once upon a time, if you had the money to open up a McDonald's as a franchisee, you were guaranteed to become a millionaire. But you need at least $1 million to open up McDonald's. So a franchise like McDonald's or the big name ones, you already have to be rich to invest or start those, right? They've what's the term? They've worked themselves out of the market that only the rich people with money can get in, because McDonald's is now set up so that they make large amounts of money from the franchisees, and it's hard. So if you're not going the franchise route, which I don't really advise, you've got to look for a franchise where the rates are just really low and the startup is like really low, but they still have a lot of system in place that's going to help you, right? When you think about a franchise, you must investigate their system to see how good it is. And that might be a hard thing to do. You're about to drop hundreds of thousands to $1 million on something. There better be just this beautiful system, because a franchise is a purchase into a system that the company has perfected over the last 20, 30, 50, 60, 100 years, right? They've perfected a system that guarantees growth and profit, right? That's what you're getting into. You need to see if the system is proven to do what it needs to do. And that's a hard investigation. I wouldn't even know how to do it. I would be just grilling them. They probably wouldn't tell me enough information for me to make a decision. So I'm seeing lots of 7-Elevens shut down. They're now just Quickie Mart convenience. They're not a 7-Eleven anymore. They moved away from the franchise because why? Why would you move away from a winning franchise system? You move away because it's not working. That's why you move away. So somebody walking down the back alley, I had to peek at them. Anyway, so you want to be building your own system. And that's what this, you open up that first location and you streamline it and you perfect it till it's making money. And I advise pay properly. Don't consider pay reduction or paying the minimum wage. Minimum wage, especially in Alberta, is poverty wages. If you're not paying more than about $21, $22 an hour, you are paying poverty wages. That's just a fact. So I don't even pay attention to minimum wage, because minimum wage is a bullshit compromise for the current government to stay in power, right? Oh, they raised minimum wage, but not enough to affect big business, right? They're playing the devil's advocate down the middle. So as a small business owner, medium-sized business owner, heck, a large business, you need to be aware of the local living wage and make sure everybody in your organization makes at least that. So that has to be part of your ramp-up system. And we're not doing it fast. So like 10, 15 years, you have gone from 1 to maybe 3 or a handful of store locations. You've created a small local regional brand, and it's profitable. So you've got two choices: continue to expand for fun, or kind of cap it off at that handful of stores and just make money. Just make money for the rest of your life. And then when you go to sell the company, you're not selling the individual store locations. You're selling multiple locations all at once. And you're selling the system that you created. It's a system. I mean, at this point, you could also say, oh, I'm going to sell franchises. But I think that's a whole nother can of worms. I say just keep it to your group of stores, brand them all the same, and then people will recognize your brand and know what to expect in each location. I think the franchising system is just a money grab. And I don't think the systems really give enough support for the local vendor or the local owner. So, and why build someone else's business when you could just open another location yourself? You're no longer an individual location manager. You are now the regional manager of 5 stores, 5 locations, right? And if you have 5 stores in the local area and you can drive to all of them, I mean, you just go visit each store, a different store each day, help the local manager, see what they need, look for those improvements. That's your job now. You're not even working in the location anymore. You're the owner. You pop in. You're the general manager. You're the regional manager, however you want to call yourself, right? You're no longer the clerk at the store or the person doing the thing. You are just a manager, and you're going in and you're helping each location, and you're learning as you go through each of your locations. Oh, man. Sometimes I think it would be so easy to open up some sort of business that's based on location, the brick and mortar model, and people just walk in. It's hard being a consultant. I don't know how to market myself properly. And certainly like local marketing tactics don't necessarily work for a consultant like me who doesn't have a brick and mortar location, certainly not multiple locations, right? So it's hard for me to justify opening up an office where clients can come down to without knowing that I've got a proper business model, because that office expense, multiple thousands of dollars a month just for rent, and then utilities on top of that, and my services, like I'm going to need internet and maybe a phone there. I think what I would right now with my business, I would love to open up an office that has a big boardroom / training room, so that I could easily get 50 people in a circle, so that me and my wife can host the Kairos blanket exercise in our office. And I can also have tables and chairs set up with projector or whiteboard or whatever. And I could rent the space out to other corporations as a meeting space for them. And I could also run my other courses, my Indigenous relation courses, and HR training courses, because I'm in the process of trying to develop like management training courses. And I think if I had a location where I could every day of the week have training set up, maybe even weekends, But if I had my own location where that training could be set up, then I could justify paying for it. But I've got to get to a point where I can do these trainings and start proving that I can make money. And I got to get to that point where my monthly income from my training is more than what the cost would be to start that location. But as soon as I had that location, I could be making more money. Because if I'm using, if I'm booking some other location, or if I got to use the client's location, right, the client might not have the right space, and they may have to rent a space for themselves anyway for me to do the training, or I may have to rent a space to do the training, and I'm losing the possibility of more revenue. Because if I'm using their space, well, I can't charge them more for the space. If I have to rent my own space, then I'm increasing my price, and or just adding on the cost to rent the location. But if I had my own location, I could increase the cost of each course a little bit. So if I'm charging, say, I don't know, $1,000, $1,500 for a half-day course, in my own location, then I could feel, I would feel good about saying, well, let's make that course $2,000, because I would be making a little bit more money to help pay for the overhead of the office and the training space. So that would be really nice. I think that's where I'm leaning. And I see these other models of these organizations that are like kind of countrywide, and I don't know what they're charging, but they've got enough reputation that the client is paying enough money that they're covering the meeting space and the facilitator and overhead, and generate some profit for the organization. It's out there. People pay for these. But what kind of client is that, right? They're bigger clients. They have hundreds of employees, maybe thousands of employees. So I think there's certainly a market for what I got, especially if we're looking at, small to medium-sized businesses. I would have the flexibility to say each week I'm putting in this basic management course, and it's, $200, $250 for each participant or something like that. And I could fit 50 people in my classroom, in my meeting space. I mean, that might work. So, but I've got to prove it's going to work first. And there's a lot of consulting firms already out there. And I wouldn't mind working for some of them. They've got some pretty neat stuff. And they've already built the business. So it's nice to be able to go into an organization like that and learn before you go all out on your own business. I mean, yeah, it'd be nice to have that location. But with my business, it's different. Because it's not like my clients are the people that live in the neighborhood. They're not my clients. The people that live in the neighborhood, no. There might be a few that are, small businesses that are a little bit bigger. A handful, if that, right? Really, in Edmonton, my local market is the whole city. So I've got to find some way to attract clients from across the whole city. Whereas if you're a convenience store, your primary clients are the people that live within half a kilometer of your store location, right? You are walking distance. You are catering to these people that are going to walk to your store. The kids on their bikes coming to your store. You need to really cater. You need to really advertise to this group of people. And that can be done with flyers, posters at other locations, connecting with other businesses in your area and making deals with them. So if you're a convenience store, you want to go talk to the liquor store, which is near you, or the smoke shop, what are the cannabis store, right? You want to go connect with them, and you want to say something like, when someone purchases X amount of dollars at your location, I want you to give them this coupon from my store. But it's only if they purchase over a certain amount, right? So what you're doing is you're helping them by helping to increase their average purchase price. So if you go into some liquor store and the average purchase price is $50, someone's getting a bottle and some mix or something, right? Like, okay, easy $50. But if that's the average, now you want them to spend $75 or $100, and they're going to get this coupon to your location, to your store, and they only get it when they purchase the more, right? So that helps that helps their business. And imagine if you got together with a handful of businesses that are within walking distance of your store, and you all got together and said, at each location, if you purchase above X amount of dollars, you get the coupon pack, and there's some sort of coupon or bonus or free item or percentage off at one of our other locations. So if you're a convenience store and your average sale it's probably like $25 being a convenience store. It's my wife. And so with your location, you want to increase your average sale from $25 to $50. That's where you say, if you purchase over $50, I'm going to give you this coupon pack, and here's all the local stores, and they have the bonus, right? You're forcing this higher average sale price. So it's the same thing when you're like, would you like to upsell, or would you like to make it a large for another 25 cents, right? Do you really think that's 25 cents worth of fountain pop in there? No, it's like half a penny, right? It's more expensive to give you the larger cup than it is to give you the actual product that goes into it. But they get 25 cents more, increasing their average sale price. And I mean, the markup on like a fountain pop is just insane right now, right? Like it's probably like 90%. So if you're buying a $9 regular drink at the movie theater and they say, oh, make it $9.25 for a large, I mean, it's micro pennies. Like it's not really a big cost to them. There's not a very big cost difference because they purchase in bulk. There's like 20 kegs of of Coke sitting in their freezer to hook up to the machines, and there's, they order their drink cups in the thousands, right? Like, so when you make an order of 1,000 drink cups, how much do you think the cost is really per cup? So all that, when you start thinking the economies of scale and purchasing stuff, right? But you don't have that luxury when you're a small business. You've got what you've got, you're selling what you're selling, and you might not be getting the best deal from your wholesaler, from your distributor, because you're not purchasing 10,000 of them, you're purchasing 10, 20, right? So that's not going to force you a big deal in profits. But if you can increase your average sale from $25 to $50, I mean, man, you just doubled your business, right? So you got to think about that. And that's a real far tangent from HR, but we were talking about ramping up your business. And I think as you're ramping up your business, there's this in-between way. You need to first consider hiring employees that are generating revenue for you. So the client-facing people, the sales people, you hire them first, and you streamline the back end. If you're more of a consulting business or service-based business, right? You deal with the back end as it comes, and you grow that. But the front end, if you're not making the money, if you're not making the sales, then you need to make sales somehow, right? So it's always make the sales first. So that means you need more salespeople, and or you need to be really training. Train your salespeople, your client-facing people, your customer-facing people. These people need to be experts. They need to know how to handle people. They need to know how to deal with the public, right? Like they need those skills. And if you're sales, man, you give them just a ton of sales training, right? And this is how you're going to make the money, right? If you have a properly trained staff at your convenience store, every time someone comes in and spends $20, $25, they're going to point to a little sign that says, hey, spend $50 and you're going to get 5 coupons to these other local businesses that are in convenient walking distance, right? They're going to say this every time. And someone's going to say, oh, okay. Now imagine someone coming in at $45. Just 5 more bucks, man. And you can get the coupon pack. Nice. Trying to get this little extra every time. But this is only effective. You as a small business owner are setting up these proper relationships with other businesses and explaining this. And you are heavily training your employees to know the deal, to know what's going on. And you may even want to give a bonus or give a permanent raise when someone makes a sale over that amount and they give out the coupon pack. Every time they give out the coupon pack, they tick it off, right? And say, oh, I did 20 increases this week. Why is there a garbage truck driving around on Monday? Yard cleanup, yard waste day. That's what they're picking up. All right. So if someone is pretty steady and they do a lot of these upsells, you have a choice. You either give them one-time bonuses each time they do that, or you give them a permanent raise, the merit pay increase, right? So the bonus pay is attractive in that you as the business owner know that you're only giving a bonus when you've brought in more money. And it could be attractive for the employee also, but really more in the short term. If you have an employee who's consistently doing the upsell, but not quite enough to reach that bonus merit increase, but they're consistent. I mean, what's wrong with giving them a merit increase after so much time? Okay, employee John went all year and had this consistent upsell level, but it never spiked up to the merit pay increase, but it was consistent. It was consistent, was at 50 to 75% of the goal. Well, after 6 months to a year, you could still give them a merit pay increase and say, John, you're still doing good. You're not quite getting to that spot, but you are consistent. And I appreciate that. So you give them a merit pay increase after a certain amount of time, and you let them know why. You really let them know why. Now, your rock stars, on the other hand, might be consistently getting it all the time. So, well, you want to give them a challenge. One, you want to give them the base pay increase, the merit pay increase, but you also want to increase their bonus if they get to a new level, a new high. If your goal is to get, I don't know, 100 upsells in a month, and Becky is doing it every 2 weeks, I mean, so now you want to give her the base pay because she might not be getting the bonus as much now, because now you said, Becky, you're amazing. I'm going to give you a base pay, but now we're going to increase. I really want to see you excel. So we're going to increase. We're going to say 200 every month, but you get a slightly bigger bonus, right? So she's not hitting it every 2 weeks, but she is kind of hitting it every month, right? Then you can go through the same thing, right? And just continue increasing it. And then, at some point, Becky's going to get to that level where she's also not going to get the bonus pay, but you've increased her base pay so much that she really doesn't matter. She really doesn't care because she's getting good pay even if she turns into the worst employee. I mean, that's a whole nother side to deal with. Yeah, so that's the slow build, right? You want a small investment to start with, really small. Preferably your own money. But if you had a small amount of money and you were able to get some sort of grant or a business loan to go with you, then you start that first business and you streamline it and make it profitable. And then you just save everything and you reinvest into your fund. At this point, maybe you've paid off all the investment money you had, and you've grown the fund to that level again. So now, with all the streamlining, you now know how to do that second business. And then the third business will be even better. But maybe you want to do 3, maybe you want to do 5 locations. The idea is you want it to be making good money for you. And when you go to retire, you're going to make some good money. So you're not going to make the money that you're going to get from the grow and sell method. That's like a 5-year plan, this hyper growth, right? You're not going to make that kind of money, but you're going to make something in the middle, and you will not owe investors. The investors aren't taking a chunk of your money because you paid them off along the way, and now it's all you. So say you got 5 locations. I mean, if you had that just grow and hold, one location, one business location, maybe, I don't know, maybe you're selling it for a couple $100,000 to the next owner when you retire. But if you've got 3 to 5, a handful of businesses, you are now selling the whole thing for possibly millions of dollars, right? Because you've set up this amazing system and opened up all these locations, and you're proving that you're able to generate revenue, right? And at this point, everything should be paid off. All the businesses should be generating revenue, and you've saved up for your retirement already, and now you're selling it, and it's just this extra bonus for your retirement. You're going from great retirement to just absolutely amazing retirement, right? So where you want to be in that spectrum. I think most of us can probably handle just a fewer locations, but we need to really be careful. Don't expand to the next location until the first location has proven to be profitable and has generated your seed money for the next location. You want that seed money. You don't want to go to the bank and say, look, I got this proven revenue. I want to borrow another chunk of money to open up a second location. You want to avoid that, because you are not in the speed run to create as many stores as you can over the next 5 to 10 years. You're in the medium run, where you want to make sure each step of the way is successful. So you don't want to get more debt and debt payments the more you go through this. That initial money should have been enough for you. So anyway, business, no chats. Oh my God, I didn't put it on. But as always, you could have asked your question in the comments. And I apologize I didn't put that on. But I mean, if you're watching this after the fact, go ahead and comment on it, and I'll try to answer you on whatever social media site you're on. I'm live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, my Facebook business page, and Twitch, and Twitter X. And I don't know if I'll go to more in the future or not. And you'll see my shorts on all those platforms except for Twitch, which doesn't allow me to put shorts up. And in its place, I'm using TikTok. So I don't go live on TikTok, but I will put the shorts, the clips from these videos will go up on TikTok, and then you have to go to my YouTube channel to figure out which video it is. But anyway, thanks for watching. I don't want any more comments. I don't know how to work this thing now all of a sudden. So if you need to get a hold of me for any reason, business, HR stuff, all my links are in the QR code. That QR code goes to my link tree down here, which is linktr.ee/IanTheHRPro. And that's all, got all my stuff there. If you want my $7 ebook to help you deal with your staff drama issues, it's there. You can purchase that, or you can just book a meeting with me. You want to be on the show sometimes? You got a small business, and we can give your business a plug while you're on the show, and we can talk about whatever topic you want to talk about. Because on Mondays, it's straight up HR. I talk about HR. Tuesdays is Indigenous relations, Indigenous allyship, EDI stuff. Wednesday is, what's Wednesday? Side gigs, side hustles, aka small business marketing stuff, because I do that. I like to share that with people. Thursdays is Career Club. So we're going to talk resumes. We're going to talk job searches and things like that. And on Fridays, it's fun and games. We'll talk about anything and everything just because I like the randomness of a Friday where we're talking about board games, Dungeons and Dragons, Magic the Gathering, video games, movies, music, anything popular culture. I want to talk about it. And it gives us random stuff, random clips that I create and put on my stuff. And it helps people find you. And yeah, and next Monday will be human resources again, madness. I like doing it Monday, the Monday HR madness. Tomorrow, Tuesday, Remembrance Day, I will not be on. Oh, someone commented, yay, spammer from Twitch. 1 hour and 6 minutes. Spammer from Twitch says, cheap viewers on streamboo.com. Remove the space. I mean, I get that spam almost every show. If I'm over an hour, it pops up. It could be anywhere from like 50 minutes to an hour and a half. It usually pops up. Some bot likes to spam me. I mean, all that's doing is creating a comment on my Twitch feed. Ta-da! Yeah, thank you, bot. I don't know. The Twitch probably knows the bot's scammers, so I'm probably not really benefiting from it. But anyway, it's fun. It's fun when a comment like that comes up. So, anyway, we'll take a drink of water. And I think I've been on long enough, 1 hour and 7 minutes. So I'm going to let you go. I'm going to end this live. So I won't see you tomorrow. Not going to do it because of Remembrance Day. So I'll be back Wednesday. Wednesday is, right, side gigs, side hustles, small business marketing type of stuff. Okay. Talk to you later.